Okay, so Clay and I just got back from watching Electric Soldier Porygon. So, what did you think of it, Clay? Not enough seizures? Because I will say, I felt like I got pretty close a few times, hence the facetious name I used a little bit ago.
I'm disappointed that I didn't get one because then I could have sued the fuck out of the people who made it. So, in actuality, we watched Return to Silent Hill.
Yes.
The third movie in the Silent Hill movie franchise, which adapts the second movie.
Yeah, or the second game.
Second game, sorry. Second movie adapts the third game and is a direct sequel to the first movie, which is an adaptation of the first game. Everybody got that? Okay.
The floor is yours. Oh, I'm excited.
I guess Silent Hill 2 is one of my favorite games. It's definitely my top 5 horror games, but it's one of my favorite games, period. I also really, really liked the remake. I thought the remake did a really good job and was respectful of the source material, but wasn't afraid to kind of expand on it. And in ways that I felt were okay, because I think I was telling Josh this when I was playing Silent Hill, the 2 remake, is that because Silent Hill 2, the original, is like a 5-hour game. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the remake is like a good 15 to 20 hours long. And I feel like for the most part it didn't bloat that time. It wasn't needless. It was respectful, and I think it did a lot of good. I think it justified its own existence. Unlike this piece of shit. Okay.
You're not a fan. I will just say this. There were points during the film where I saw you just take off your glasses and wipe your face or just go I am excited. Because I will go ahead and say, I had specifically told Clay before we saw the movie that whatever you think of the movie, because I know you're not going to enjoy it, I don't want to hear any of it afterwards. We're going to do it live, and I am excited.
So, oh God, there's so much to talk about. All right, so I guess first of all, I went into this movie knowing it's probably not going to be good because Josh and I watched the first movie last year, right? Or was it
the year before, actually?
It was the year before that. We watched it, and while I wouldn't say it's a great movie, I think it did some weird things with the adaptation itself, and there were times where the acting just didn't really work for me, but I enjoyed it because of the visuals, and I guess and it's obvious that the guy who makes this is a huge fan of Silent Hill, because he's even said it. And so when it comes to actually displaying the town itself, in that movie, he did a great job. And I think here, for most of it, that is also that's also true. Because I will go ahead and give my one praise for this movie is that I think visually speaking, it's spot on. I think when it's not just aping camera angles from the games themselves, which I don't mind those because the cinematography in those games are usually fantastic and it's a nice little nod. But I also think there are times where the visuals are really, really good and it's this is what I would want to see Silent Hill on the big screen. These are the kind of visuals I would want to see. I would want to see the monsters. The monster designs are really good in the games, and they're brought to life really, really well here. The visuals, I think, are great. Although, there are a couple of times where it's okay, That's really stupid. Like, Demon Mary.
Yeah, I remember
This
when she
fucking
first showed up, you like
Crypt
could
Keeper
barely
looking-
contain your laughter. I'm like, I don't blame you. This looks very silly.
It looks really stupid. Also, the weird, like, spider with, like, the jiggling, like, giant ass. Like, that, like, pyramid head. Like, the scene where in the apartment where Pyramid Head, like, attacks, like, an enemy in the game. Here, it's, like, this weird, like, spider thing. That's, like, it would be creepy if it weren't for the fact that this thing has, like, a giant ass. It's, like, like, jiggling around and, like, a really, like, it's really distracting. And also, like, its face is, like, it's, like, a lady face, but it's all, like, "Woo!" Like, in a way that's not really scary. It's just, like, this is really
it's doing
silly.
a bit too much.
And then, like, when Pyramid Head attacks it, like, okay, he chops off some of its legs, and then he starts, like, fucking pounding it.
Yeah.
And it's, like, from the angles, it looks like he's, like, straight up, like, pounding her cheeks. Like, he's, like, straight up, like, playing, like, Donkey Kong bongos on this, like, spider woman's cheeks. I swear that's what it looks like. And it took the tension right out of the scene.
I remember you laughing pretty hard at that scene, too, but I wasn't expecting Donkey Kong.
Just Donkey Konga on her yams. So...
You're playing Bob. But if you close
Okay, I feel like I'm getting a little rambly, so okay, the visuals I think for the most part are really good. There are a couple of times where I don't think it works.
I will, just like while we're still on the visuals, so you talked about, spider yams, but what did you think of like some of the other monster designs? Like how they did the nurses, the mannequins, or the like nasty bug things?
I think they did really well. I like the little cockroach enemies in the game, like they're just big old cockroaches, but I like how they have like a weird like little face under them in the movie, and they're like, "Ah!" And it's like I make it sound like it's kind of silly, and it's a little bit, but they're genuinely kind of like disturbing and gross looking, and it's like I kind of like that addition, and the fact that they're swarming like like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, like the ants. It's like
what I thought.
Like they're
when
swarming.
I saw
It's like that, and like they're eating the other monsters. And it was like there was one point where like it grabbed a rat. And it was like, and it also kind of reminded me of like the weird like little bug things from the Mummy movie. Like
100%.
Which those things fucking terrified me as a kid. But like I think those were good. The nurses, I really liked what they did with the nurses' faces, where it had like the weird like trypophobia like holes in them. It's like I think that was a kind of a good like change to their design, because we already had the nurses in the first movie. Mm-hmm. And like here it's like okay, it kind of like shakes them up a little bit. And I think it works a little bit towards like the symbolism for James. Like it's like the circumstances for James are a little okay, they're a lot fucking different here. We'll fucking get to that.
Yeah,
but I think the nurse designs are good. Pyramid Head, I mean it's Pyramid Head. Although
this is another part that had you laughing.
I will so like right after Pyramid Head gets done smacking the spider lady's cheeks, like this is the scene in the apartment where like James is hiding in a closet, and so like instead of Pyramid Head just kind of like wandering around, it's almost implied like he knows James is there, but he's gonna let him be. He's not done playing with his food yet. Here he just fucking like, oh I'm gonna get you, James is like, oh god don't kill me please, and then the fucking like siren starts. And, like, James is like, ah! And then, like, at the same time, Pyramid Head is also like, argh! And, like, it's so stupid. Because it keeps fucking, like, what happens is, like, it keeps cutting back and forth between James screaming and Pyramid Head screaming. And it starts doing it so rapidly.
Seizure modes.
It was, there's, like, a couple of moments that are, like, if you have epilepsy, this movie might not be for you.
I think it's also, like, when he goes into the room and the TV is on. Like, that one was bad.
That one was bad. Like, I don't have epilepsy, but I actually kind of felt a little worried there. Like, am I going to have a seizure? I've never had one before. I don't want to find out. But yeah, like, it's so stupid. And also, like, Pyramid Head has, like, this little hole in his helmet. and it'll zoom in on like his eye, and then like at the end it like zooms in and it's like, oh, it was James the entire time. I'm like, well, okay, I'll put a fucking pin in that because I have so much to talk about.
I know. I would say I don't hate that entirely.
Because here's the thing, it's like in the game,
it's implied.
It is implied, especially because it's actually the same model. Like the body shape is the exact same as James.
No.
And okay, so
you know what? Baby steps. Let's start with Eddie.
What Eddie?
I know. Like we can get Eddie done very quick because he has maybe 4 minutes of screen time.
Okay,
maybe?
So look, it's in terms of like the entire storyline of the game, Eddie is not that important, but he is still a really good foil for James, and also just a really interesting story in and of himself. Because that's the thing because something I learned about is that when Silent Hill 2 was being developed, the original idea is that you actually pick who your protagonist is, and like the stories will intersect at times, but you are playing through a separate person's journey. And they cut that and only focused on James for the final game, but there is that implication that these other characters do have their own journeys, and then they eventually get resolved and James witnesses them, and Eddie's gets resolved rather poorly for him. But here, they just cut him, basically. Like, they give you the introduction of him, like, throwing up in the bathroom. And then, like, he's there for, like, a couple minutes afterwards, and then he's just gone. And he never shows up again. And it's like, well, what the fuck was the point of him? He has the same relevance to the plot as, like, the weird homeless guy who gets fucking, like, melted by an enemy, like, early in the movie. Which I will admit was
to
pretty...
be fair, that was pretty cool.
Like, that effect was pretty cool. And it was pretty gross. And it was also just kind of a nice, like, little subversion because, like, he's in the same place as, like, where that first enemy is in the game. And, like, you're kind of expecting, oh, he's going to pull over the covers and it's going to be, like, one of the monsters. I know, it's just this creepy homeless guy. But then the monster shows up. But it's like, wow, like, Eddie, my problem is that you should have cut him entirely because he offers nothing to the story. He does not explain anything. He doesn't add anything much to the scene. And he's just gone. And it's like, at that point, just cut him,
Sure, the light is flickering, so I'm going to turn this one off. But please continue. Hi, bud.
It's like, at this point, just cut the dude if you're not going to use him for anything, It's like the movie's an hour 46, and maybe that's why, but I'm like, you could have made it 2 hours. Like, you could have added Eddie, it could have been something, but they half-assed it. Because
it's like just enough to say Eddie is in the movie, but I get
not enough to do anything.
Not enough to do anything. So I 100% agree that if you're gonna do him like that, you might as well just not.
Also, he's like a very different character where it's like, Eddie in the game at the start is like this very like innocent sort of person. He seems like he's just like a normal guy who's caught up in this like everybody else.
He's the kind of guy who would just sit there and eat pizza.
Yeah. I'm glad you got your appetite back. But here he's just like another like crazy. He's basically another crazy homeless guy. And again, he offers nothing to the plot. He doesn't really offer any like explanations or any like plot relevance. It's not like he's helpful. So yeah, it's weird that he's even here. Like, he's basically just here so we can say that Eddie's here. But to be fair, at least he's not around long enough to get fucking demolished like Laura and Angela do. Would you like to add stuff? Or would you like me to keep going? You wanted this.
I did. No, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. The reason I'm sighing is because I don't hate what they did with Laura and Angela.
fucking go on.
And I would be happy to. And for me, I think the reason I don't hate it... Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say that this was a great decision. This is a faithful adaptation of the characters, because it's not. But I think it's why what they did with Eddie bothers me so much. Because what they did with Laura and Angela was at least try to take the idea of these characters and what they went through and tie it into the story of James and Mary. And Eddie is here's just a dude that James runs into named Eddie, who, like you said, contributes nothing.
So it would be a little weird if we gave Mary another middle name.
I mean, he might have been James' middle name. And because I can see that, and I hate it, because I still don't really want to justify how they worked Eddie in.
It would roll off the tongue better than Mary, Angela, Laura, Crack, or whatever the fuck her last name was.
Crane, but close enough. So, because at the very least, like the one scene with Eddie where he's like kicking James while Pyramid Head is there, you could argue it's supposed to be more of like James's guilt and punishing himself, especially given like what Laura represents here. Like, I can see it, but I don't want to give it that much credit. However, the idea of like, okay, here's this little girl who knows who Mary is and is someone that is close to Mary, because this represents Mary as a young girl and represents her childhood. I can see that, and I think that's an interesting way of tying these two together. And with Angela being someone who was abused by her father, and how they rewrote Mary's like story, and I'm not gonna try to defend that because I don't particularly like it, but it at the very least, like, okay, so this is how we're tying Angela in as kind of just a reflection and representation of Mary's aversion to being touched and just like all of the trauma that comes with it. So I don't hate it. I feel like
she have an aversion to being touched?
Yeah, there's literally a scene where like James like, hey, you know, like I just want to help you, and she has the knife, like, don't touch me.
I'm talking about Mary.
Oh, that I think is just
never seemed to be a problem with her. In fact, that was something that she kind of liked.
So I think let me put it like this: she liked it with James, but her trauma is weird because it was people eating her, but she would not actually be eaten. Like, I don't fucking know, but
we're gonna talk about it.
At the very least, it is something her father did to her, and people physically hurt her. So I think the story of Angela is they were able to tie it in to Mary and James, and I think they did the same with Laura. So I'm like, I genuinely give you points for creativity here. I think Angela should still have her own story, because I think, like with Eddie, it's really interesting, but I will give them credit here.
I suppose there's some merit.
But I understand why you're like, I don't like this.
Because, like, here's the thing. I went into this knowing that things were going to get fucked with. Because that's just what this guy does. That is the thing he did in the first movie. From what I understand, it's what he does in the second movie, to far less success, and it's what he does here in this movie. I knew this was going to happen, but because I told you this on the trip back, it was far more okay for there to be creative liberties in the first movie, because the plot of the first game is nonsense. It is wacky bullshit. And a lot of it can be up for interpretation. A lot of it may never have even happened. And there are a lot of vague details that you can fill in the gaps with. And I think that's fine. And I think he did okay with that. But Silent Hill 2 has a much more clearly defined plot, clearly defined themes, and characters. And it is a lot more popular than the first movie. It's like, there are some things that you probably shouldn't have fucked with. Like, okay, things like changing Mary's last name, I don't actually care. It's just weird that you did that. It's like, what was wrong with Shepherd? What was wrong with Mary Shepherd? Sunderland. Oh, because that's another thing, is that she's not even married to James in this one. She's the girlfriend, and they had a bad breakup, and then she died. And it's like, I mean, okay. So, first problem with that is that girlfriend is not as emotionally compelling as wife. You know? Um, there's a reason why it's his wife and not his, like, girlfriend, lover slash ex or whatever. It's like, that's the thing. It's his ex that he's looking for. And it's like, and they were together for like a short period of time. And it's like, but this movie is still trying to portray his emotional connection to her and grieving her loss the same way as like a man who's been married and been in love with this woman for years, because that's what it feels like it's implied in the game. It's like they were together for a while.
Yes, because something they even say in the game is he's like, I believe he says at the start, it's been 3 years since she went missing, or excuse me, since she died.
But that was 3 years when she was sick.
And but it also talks about, sorry, brain is not braining. I did notice that instead of saying it's been 3 years that he's been dealing with the grief for that long, it's only been a few months, which granted, I don't want to downplay like a few months of grief, because that could still be a lot, that can still be very intense. But I do think in the game, the longer period does make it feel a bit more impactful.
And so it's like, I do like, because like, what I do like is it does show scenes of them together, like actually showing a bit of their relationship before all this bullshit happens. That's something that I do like.
I liked that a lot, especially because it would generally be like James sees a place in the town. Like there was one bit, and I think I saw you react to this too, when they're at the apartment buildings and it's like James trying to like move some of his stuff with Mary, and then like the shot kind of pans and like we're back in the other world. Like I thought that was a really good transition.
There are times when it does that, it's really good, because what I will give this guy credit for is that he is an excellent cinematographer. Like when it comes to shot compositions, and again, like not just like shots that are just from the game. Like there's a lot of shots like there's this like overhead camera of him walking through the streets. It's like that's a really good angle. There's like the angle when he's like in the apartment and he like leans out over the balcony and it just zooms out and it shows that there's like a fucking shadow.
That was really cool.
It's like that's really good. There are some really good shots here, and he's really good at visual direction, but he is so bad at storytelling. Which is a shame, because Silent Hill 2 is one of the best stories in fiction for me. And there are just elements of that I think you can get away with changing. There are some, like Mary's name, like that's not something that actually bothers me, but there are some elements of the story you just don't fuck with. And he fucked with a lot of them. And some of them were just baffling decisions. Like, okay, so instead of James being just like some clerk, just some dude, he's an artist. He's a painter. And when we first saw it, I was like, okay, I'm waiting to see when this becomes relevant. Because a painter and Silent Hill is like great. Like I just played Evil Within 2 a few months ago, and you know, like one of the first main antagonists is like this photographer, like this demented serial killer, like photographer, and they do a lot with that visual. Like there's a lot of portraits and paintings and sculptures. Like there's like this whole like literally like this Silent Hill monster. It's like a camera on like women's legs, and it's like fucking spider crawling everywhere. It's like it's straight out of Silent Hill. It's great. And it's like, I'm waiting for when they do something with this. And they only do, like, one thing with this, and it's like the hallway of paintings.
They do two things. There's one I really like, one I think is too much, and I know it was something you didn't like either. Because the Hall of Paintings, I really liked that. I thought that was really cool.
Where they're all just, like, distorted pictures of Mary, because like that was his muse, and it's like, you know, like that was like something that could justify this change, because it's like it's not like him being a clerk has anything to do with the story.
No, because like I genuinely liked him being an artist, and I thought that was kind of neat as a whole. That moment justified it, but then there's the moment where he makes like a self-portrait, and then he makes like a red pyramid around. I was like, that's too much.
Because I will say, the fucking like grizzly like beard too.
Yeah, because like there's this bit where he's like with Pyramid Head, and it shows like James's face under the mask. I'm like, okay, it's maybe too on the nose, but I like it. I actually kind of like that. But then right after is all right, let me draw the red pyramid, like, on my portrait. Like, okay, now you kind of took it too far.
Got it, dude.
Like, you can do one or the other, and I honestly just like seeing him under the hood a little bit more.
Also, okay, so for the game that introduced Pyramid Head and have him be the main antagonist, Pyramid Head's not in this movie a lot. Like, he shows up, like, twice.
I mean, he's not in the game a whole lot either.
He shows up a hell of a lot more than it does here. Like, because that's the thing. It's like he shows up in the apartment a couple of times, and then he shows up in the hospital, then he shows up in the... Like, he's consistent. He's, like, in every major level of the game. Here, you get, like, the scene of him in the apartment, and then you get the scene of him not in the hospital. It's, like... Between that, it's weird because they completely cut out the prison segment and like the historical society, which, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it because like the historical society is like my favorite part of the game, but it is like they cut out his entire final confrontation, which leads me to Maria and the lack thereof.
Yeah, I was about to bring up Maria.
Who?
Well, she's not your Mary, which is a line that's not in the movie.
And that's the other reason why it's... okay, yeah, no, you know what? I'm pissed they removed the prison, because they removed that scene. That's, like, the standout scene of the game. It would have been perfect. You know what? I could have seen that actress pulling it off. I could have seen this James pulling it off, because that is another thing I will give the movie, is that I think the actors do an okay job. There are times where we have some people who are overacting a little bit. I think James, like, I don't remember what his name is, the actor, but I think there are times where he overacts a little bit. But I don't mind them, and I do like who they have for Mary. I think Mary does a pretty good job for the most part, and Maria, obviously. But, and like, I could have seen her pulling it off. Like, that could have been a great scene. And it's just not in the movie. Like, that whole segment. And, you know, like, obviously the Eddie segment's gone, too.
But here's my problem with Maria. She serves a very specific purpose in the game of being, this is the Mary that James wanted. But... because of how they changed, and we'll get to, you know, the reveal, which, I mean, like, this has kind of been a full spoilers anyways, so oops. But that doesn't work in this version of the story anymore. So Maria is completely superfluous thematically. And the whole of, like, oh, well, you know, if you find... The whole thing of leaving with Maria in the game makes sense, and to me, it's like, that is the bad ending. That is the, Jimmy, you learned nothing from your experiences from Silent Hill ending. This, she was just kind of, it felt like with Eddie, she's here because she's in the game, but doesn't really serve any purpose.
And then it's like, and then she's just gone, and Pyramid Head's like, oh, and then impales her, and then he's gone, and it's like that and then he's gone. It's like that whole, like, realization from James, the whole confrontation with them, is just gone, which, again, oh my god, I'm actually getting a headache from this fucking movie. Okay.
Take over?
No, I need to keep going.
Okay.
So, there are some decisions in this plot that utterly baffle me. And I am not even talking about just Silent Hill 2. Because here's the thing. I tried to go into this movie as like, okay, it's Silent Hill. I'm just going to try and experience it as it is, as a movie. And I'm going to try and let my biases of how much I love the original game, I'm going to try and keep that from pissing me off. And I admit, there are times where I failed. As we can see, I complained a lot. Mm-hmm. But looking at the movie by itself, it's still fucking stupid. So, first of all, so James's whole thing is that he met this girl, he fell in love, moved in with her, a little disconcerted by her creepy friends, but hey, you know, that's not an immediate red flag. That's not an immediate just game over. Then, you know, he comes in one night, sees they're all having a little powwow. Turns out, you know, his girlfriend has a creepy little shrine in a hole in her wall to her father. Okay, red flag. But you know what? He loves this girl. He sticks around. But then, you know, he's a little concerned for her safety, so he follows her one day as, like, her friends are, like, taking her to this place. So he goes into this alleyway. There's this fucking, like, grate with, like, demon symbols on it. He's like, oh, okay, just open that shit up. And then he goes down there, and he finds the blood orgy.
Yeah.
Where it's like, so they make her take this drug, and I guess it makes her bleed everywhere, and then they... Like, there's literally shots of, like, some of the townsfolk, like, just, like, literally just, like slicking their fingers, and, like, there are close-ups of them, like, and they're like,
it's a decision. I don't know what other words I have for it, except why, but it was a decision that was made.
So,
because instead of Mary just being a woman who got sick, it has to be some weird cult shit, because weird Silent Hill, even though there's no, like, weird cult shit in Silent Hill too.
And so, you know...
I mean, maybe one of the, like, bonus endings, I'm not sure.
I know it's one of the new bonus endings in 2. It kind of relates to the cult shit, but anyways. But it's like, so he goes home, and he packs his shit, and he packs her shit, and he's like, okay, babe, that's fucking weird. So, are you moving out with me or not? She's like, dude, why are you being so upset? I just saw people fucking lick your blood off of your naked body. How could I not be upset? And she's like, no, I can't leave. And he's like, why not? You were literally leaving in your first scene, and because she even brings up, it's like, you know why I was going out of town the first time we met? It's because I was trying to leave. He's like, okay, why's stopping you now? Fucking nothing, I guess. And he's just like, oh, fuck it, I'm leaving. I'm out. I ain't dealing with his weird shit. And he leaves. And then, like, I guess a few months later, she gets fucking toxoplasmosis or whatever, or like she gets like anemia from the drug they were giving her. And then, so he comes back, and he's got, like, the full, like, beard. He's got, like, a full beard.
He's got, like, the James Harden.
He's got the James Harden beard. It's like, what's that guy from, like, what's the movie where it's, like, the monsters will, like, kill you if you, like, speak or something? Like,
Quiet
Place?
Yes, that was John Krasinski.
Yeah, he's got, like, the John Krasinski beard. And, like, she's in the hospital, and he's like, as she's dying, and he's like, yeah, he's like, you know what you have to do, James? He's like, I don't want to. I'm like, do you know what you have to do? Because, I mean, I feel like you haven't talked to her about this. And then it's like, then he just takes, like, a fucking rag, and then, like, fucking, like, and because I kind of noticed, like, that's a little less effective than a pillow. It's just this fucking rag, and I'm like, there are some shots where I'm like, you're not even covering her nose, dude. Come on, you suck at this. If you're gonna kill your...
Sorry, I'm not used to committing murder, bro.
If you're gonna kill your girlfriend, do it fucking properly. God. So it's like...
That is a fucking sentence.
Look, man, if you're gonna do something, do it right. But it's like... And it's like, okay, so you've completely fucked the entire point of this story. You have completely fucked it. You know why? Because you've made it unambiguous that James Mercy kills her at her request. Mm-hmm. Which, the ambiguity of it is the whole fucking point of the story. Because you don't know why he did it. You can make guesses. Depending on how you played the game, it will tell you one way or another. But in the game, he kills her. He murders her, not by her request. He murders this woman, his wife, who he has lived for years with, who he's had to suffer alongside her as she's wasting away from this disease, as she becomes this bitter, horrible person towards him. And all the love in that marriage is gone, but he still cares about her enough that after what he does, he's traumatized. But he doesn't know if what he did was the right thing, because he doesn't know if he was doing it because he didn't want to see her suffer, or if he's doing it because he just wants her out of his life, because he's a horrible person. And the fact that he doesn't know that himself is what causes that mental anguish that sets up the entire story. That is the central point of his fucking character. And by making her death an unambiguous mercy kill, you fucking ruin the entire story. And wow, I'm upset. Like, I think this is the thing that bothers me the most about this movie, is that, look, you can change things around, you can fiddle with things, but this shows, I think, just a misunderstanding of the point of the entire story, of the character of James Sunderland. James Sunderland is not a good person. But whether he is an evil man or just a good person who did a bad thing is up to interpretation. And whether killing his wife was at all justified or the right thing, or a purely selfish, evil act, that is up to you. But that ambiguity is important. And the fact that they make it very unambiguous, and they make it like this is like kind of a necessary thing for her, it takes the guilt out of it. Like, obviously there would still be guilt there, but the reason why James is so fucked up is because of that ambiguity. And that's why he's so tormented. That is why Silent Hill is dogging him at every turn with what he did. Because of the guilt and the shame he feels, because he doesn't know why he did it. Because it could be one thing if he's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck her. She ruined my life. I want my life back. That would be one thing. That's what Eddie did. He doesn't show any remorse. He's not mad that he killed that guy. Just like that. Or, you know, like he didn't want to do it, but he was desperate and he didn't know what else to do, and he doesn't know how to process his feelings, like Angela, you know. And Angela eventually lets those feelings of guilt and shame and that ambiguity and that torment burn her alive. Whereas with James, it's really up to how you play him. You know, here it's like you can't connect to that level of guilt and shame that would make Silent Hill 2 work. When it's his girlfriend, it's his ex, and again, not to say that you can't like fall deeply in love with a girlfriend, obviously, or what, you know, like you can't feel that, but it's like it misses the point. And because it misses the point, the whole thing crumbles. Because here's the thing. When the movie was starting, and for a little while, I was actually into it. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? There's a couple of things here and there I'm not sure I'm a fan of. But you know what? I feel like we're on the right track. I feel like we could do something here. But then when we finally get to the end, when we get to the big reveal, when we get to the big climax, it just all falls apart. Because I don't feel that connection to James anymore. Like, this, like, mental torment he is going through no longer hits the same. Because of the things you've changed. It's like a Jenga tower, mm-hmm. where it's like if you remove a few pieces, and it's technically still standing, but you can just do that, and the whole thing falls apart. As opposed to when it was, like, fully built up, and it's like, yeah, it would take a little bit more effort to break it. But because you changed all those little elements of like Mary's character, of her relationship with James, of the relation of like the time, you know, instead of this woman wasting away for years and James having to dedicate his entire life just to take care of a woman who he loved, but that love is no longer there because she's like lashing out, she's becoming emotionally and at times physically abusive, and all this while he is still taking care of her, he is dedicating all of his time, his money, his energy to her, and then at the end, he is finally at the end of his rope and this man snaps. But when it's like, okay, they knew each other for a few months and then, you know, like he got creeped out by the blood orgy, he left. And then a few months later, oh no, she got blood cancer. Oh, better use this fucking dish towel to fucking smother my ex-girlfriend with. Oh, my mental anguish is so bad. It creates a fucking pyramid head and like the whole town is all fucked up now. It doesn't work that way anymore. It doesn't work. Fuck. It just, fuck you. Not you, but you know what I mean, man. And then we get to the ending. We get to the fucking goddamn piece of shit ending.
No. Actually, no, go ahead, sorry.
Okay.
I just have some notes for what you just said, but like I actually don't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry for this.
So he gets to the top of the fucking hotel, and like Mary's like fucking
like
hospital bed is like fucking emo tap, and then like she fucking like unfurls herself as like this like, and I actually don't mind the design as long as you zoom out a little bit and you don't look at her face. It's like, okay, it's like a weird like hospital bed moth thing. It's like that's actually, you know, like that's a nice like addition to the design of like the final boss Mary from the game. But that fucking face, man, like she looks like the creepy like lich lady from the Dungeons and Dragons movie. You know, like with the weird sunken in like eyes, like she looks fucking stupid. Whereas as opposed to how it is in the game where it's like, no, it's just Mary like trapped in this like cage shaped like a hospital bed, and it's like this like distorted, gross, like there's like sores and shit, like Mark at the end of Iron Lung, like just, you know, like you can like you were saying, like you can smell it almost, and it's like ugh. And then it's like he like it's not like a big fight or anything. He just like floats in the air and he's like, I finally found you. And like Mary with like her fucking creepy like spindly arms,
Daddy long
and it's like
fingers.
she's like, ooh. And then it just cuts to him like back at the hotel with her body, and it's like, oh, how did that get there? You know. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to fucking drive off the pier now. We're going to do in water.
In water, baby!
I was like, you know, like,
My goated ending.
it's like if we had ended it in water, it'd be like, okay, it's just like the movie. It's underwater. But, oh no. Oh, we got to pull some dumb bullshit right at the end. So he drowns and he dies. Mm-hmm. But then he wakes back up. Mm-hmm. At the very start of the movie, we loop back to the beginning where he almost gets hit by a semi. Then he runs over Mary's luggage, and they do that whole thing, and he is now aware that all that shit happens. And he's like, hey, I'll drive you to town. I won't drive you back to Silent Hill like I did before. And then, like, they drive off happily ever after, as in, like, what is this, fucking Clannad? Are we, what? What the fuck? We do a time loop?
Yep.
We do a happy ending in Silent Hill 2? Are you mad?
Okay, to be fair, there is a potential good ending in Silent Hill 2.
Not one where Mary lives? Are you fucking crazy? And I'm not even like, look, okay, like as a Silent Hill 2 fan, you can go fuck yourself. But as watching this as a movie, fuck you. When the fuck did you establish that time looping was possible in any of these fucking movies. When did you establish that it was possible for him to go back in time, like it's Back to the fucking Future, and like save Mary? Like, you want to know how you do that? You want to know how you make that good? You just start the whole movie over again. He is in an endless loop because he always ends up there. And I think that's all you had to do. That was a nice little kick in the ass that would have been appropriate to the story you were trying to tell and the story you are adapting. Like, all you had to do was make it bitter or bittersweet, where it's like, yeah, like, the same shit happens. Because that's basically what the Maria ending is. Because that's the whole point of the Maria ending, is that, like, she starts getting sick and he's like,
better do something about that cough.
And it's like, that shows he learns nothing. And I think that's another big problem, is that you make this James unambiguously a more heroic, good character. Whereas he really is not that in the game. Again, like, you don't know if he's a good person or not. He doesn't know. But here, this shaggy looking motherfucker is like, no, he's like a typical, like, cool looking dude driving a fucking, like, Mustang. You know, like, and I'm not trying to insult the actor or like that or anything, but it's a little distracting when we go from the more, like, dopey, plain looking James to this guy is literally starts the movie smoking a blunt while listening to rock music and his fucking, like, convertible. Like, okay. But okay, you're gonna do a time loop. Okay, cool. When was this established? You're just gonna do that? You're just gonna do that? Or you're just gonna have a happy ending? Fuck you. It's Silent Hill 2. Fuck you. That's my review. Fuck you out of 10.
No. There's one more thing that I want you to talk about before I give my retort, because you had brought this up very quickly in the car. Because I had said, like, well, like, the music was good. And you're like, I have a pin for that. So I want you to go ahead and talk about the music.
I forgot about that. What music? Because here's the thing. The movies heavily use Akira Yamaoka's songs from the appropriate games, which, again, that's not a problem at all, because Akira Yamaoka is a master. And, like, his soundtracks are really good. It's almost to, like, that Guilty Gear tier of, like, hey, look, it's a pretty cool horror game that came with a soundtrack, you know? Like, this, I listen to this dude's soundtracks unironically. Like, he's a fantastic artist. But the music is weirdly underplayed here. Like, because Silent Hill 2 has some of the best songs in the series. And they do play some of them. That's the thing. Some of them get played. But not a lot. A lot of the movie's soundtrack feels like very generic horror. A lot of thum, you know, like when scary things happen. Like, especially that scene with, like, the Pyramid Head and James going like, thum, thum, thum,
okay,
thum,
so
thum,
there's,
thum.
to follow up on that real quick, because the scene when you first see the yam spider, because when you first see it, you just see, like, this corpse, like this, like, very desiccated, nasty corpse, and the head just comes off and just rolls. I'm like, that is so cool. I love this. And then it stops, and the eyes look at James, and it does that, like, tongue sound, and I'm like, you ruined it. Like the sound overplayed the moment, and this would have been so cool otherwise.
But they weirdly don't use a lot of his songs. And sometimes they use the songs in places where it didn't make sense. Like, they use the lullaby from the hotel in the hospital. And it's like, okay. They use this one song. I do not remember the name of it, but it's that classical song. What is it called? It escapes me at the moment. It's not Claire de Lune.
No, but I know what you're talking about. Like, has that ever been in Silent Hill?
Not to my knowledge. And it's like, dude, we don't even get Betrayal. Like, we don't get the Pyramid Head theme in the game, in the movie, based on the game where Pyramid Head came from. Really? Like, you know, like, we really don't get a lot of songs from 2. And it's weird because I remember the first movie pretty liberally used the soundtrack, like from Akira Yamaoka, and I mean he's still in the credits. He's an executive producer. But it is weird that they just don't really take advantage of that a lot. And it's not like, and again, they rely a lot on like the horror sound of like the thum thum, you know, or like the really generic like the strings like you know. So it's like I really didn't feel as like invested in the soundscaping of the movie as I would be otherwise. But again, I will say like in terms of visuals, they nailed it. I actually really like the other world in this movie is the same as the ones from from like the first movie, where it's the very like metallic, fiery kind of thing, which I'm not sure how much because again, like 2's other world is very different. It has that very like dark, like wet, moldy.
Because I felt like there were moments in this movie where there's moments I think in like the hotel or not the hotel, the apartments in particular, or like this very much looks like James's other world. And I didn't mind the like rusty, nasty aesthetic. I thought it was kind of neat.
I really liked in the apartments where like the windows are like this very bright orange, like it's all like there's fire just outside the window. It's like that part I did like.
I guess just like while we're on the subject of that, I kept wondering when the fire was going to come into play. Is like, did he burn her body afterwards? Was it like he burned the town to the ground like after some shit? And I don't know if it's just like a reference to the first movie in the fight.
I think it's just because it's supposed to be like the same setting, basically.
So like I guess it's probably just a reference to that, but I was like, what does this have to do with Silent Hill 2? And by the end of the movie, like, oh, it actually doesn't have to do with Silent Hill 2.
I guess the closest thing is that like the hotel did burn down, because that is a thing that happened in the second game. Is that the hotel did burn down.
Okay, I don't remember that.
But again, it also disconnects the world from James, which because like that's the thing, is that like Silent Hill 2 was the start of like the personalized hell for the main character, because like in the first game it is a hell, but it is for a different character. Harry is disconnected from that, but here it's like
right?
Yeah, but it's like here it is explicitly like this is James's personal hell, which is why other characters have different hells. Like Eddie's is frozen and Angela's is on fire, you know, and Laura doesn't see anything. Which that was the first like sign that something had gone horribly wrong, was when Laura's like, the monsters, they're coming to get you. I'm like, you shouldn't even know about those. Oh no.
Also, we had never brought up her doll. It's like I hated it.
I hated it. What was the fucking point of that thing, man?
I don't know, but I loved how just gross so.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that fucking doll from Resident Evil 8. Like the creepy doll bitch.
I hadn't seen that. But I remember you reacting to it when you played it. Okay.
You want to talk about a scary baby. Anyways, I am hoarse.
So should I talk for a little bit?
Please.
So there were 3 things. There were 4, because I wanted to make sure I hit the music part, because I wanted to hear what you had to say about it. So there are 3 things I wanted to say. Number 1, thank you. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Just like that rant was perfect. And you know why? Because it was authentic. That was just like, these are my genuine thoughts, unfiltered, and I love that. So thank you for that. Number 2, there was a bit relatively early on into that when you were talking about the relationship between James and Mary, and I just remembered a moment from the game, and it's when she's like shouting at him and screaming at him, and then afterwards she's just like, wait, please don't go, and like I almost started crying. Like, oh right, this is a really beautiful story. And one change I really don't like is, like, by the end, you never hear the full letter. As I am someone who, in water of base Silent Hill 2...
That never even comes up again, man.
It never comes up again. Because in base Silent Hill 2, In Water is my favorite ending. Because to me, this is the ending that makes the most sense to me for James Sunderland. I believe that this is someone who did a terrible thing and isn't happy that he did it, is not at all proud that he did it, and cannot live with the guilt. And it's just that moment, like, when it happens, you're like, okay, this is James's ending. And then you get the full letter. Wow, it is heartbreaking. And it's, like, so perfect. And not getting the letter, I definitely I don't love that.
It's like, and that's a setup for a wonderful scene where it could have been like, yeah, like, he's talking to somebody, and he's like, yeah, I got a letter, see? And he pulls it out, and it's blank. And, like, what the fuck? You know?
But, I said in base Silent Hill 2 because there's an ending in the remake that is now my favorite ending. And I don't remember what it's called. I like to call it In Water with Extra Steps. Because it's the one where, like, he's about to do it, and Mary is in the car with him. And they have a conversation, and to me, the vibe that I get from it is...
She talks him down.
She talks him out of it. And it's like, you will see me again when it's time, but it's not your time yet. And when you hear the car going into the water still, but the screen goes black. And in my headcanon, James gets out of the car, but, like, makes sure it still goes into the water, giving Mary a burial.
Yeah, still gotta bury the body. Gotta get rid of the evidence, man.
And to me, this is... James went through Silent Hill, and he can't live with the guilt, but he showed the town and, like, the entity, like, whatever it is, that this is someone who acknowledges what he did, but isn't evil. He is not remorseless. There is hope here, and so the town gives it to him, which is why I don't mind the ending to the film. Because I'm one of those people that's like, I kind of go back and forth on whether I think Silent Hill 2 is a time loop story. Because I think even in the remake, like, there is some evidence of that in, like, some of the New Game Plus stuff. But the idea that James has been doing this loop possibly multiple times until he theoretically gets it right. And to me, that's kind of what I got from the movie, is he got his ending where he made peace with it. And the town's like, okay, I will give you a redo. Now, is that well explained? No, it is not explained at all. Like, you brought up Clannad, and I'm like, yeah, having watched the anime and the VN explains it really well, the anime does not. But because of my familiarity with the game and some of my interpretations of it, I don't mind that. Though I understand why you're like, no, Silent Hill 2 should never have an unambiguously happy ending. It should be bittersweet at best. The other... there was one more thing I wanted to say. Maybe that was it. I think there was something... Oh, I remember now. It was talking about, missing the point in James's guilt. And I do want to fight you on that. I'm not going to fight you super passionately because I don't disagree. But I will say, to me, this version of James, his guilt is less from Mercy killing Mary and more that he abandoned her. Because what I see is, after the blood cannibal orgy, which is a weird thing that should happen, it should not happen in Silent Hill 2, because I don't like that, I'm not going to defend it. But he tells her, like, okay, we're leaving. Like, I am not doing this anymore,
and
neither should you, because I'm afraid for you. I want to keep you safe. And she tells him, like, I tried to leave before, and then, like, that shit, like, to me, it makes sense to me. Because this is someone who is so indoctrinated into this world and this system, and the one time she tried to escape, it felt like some bullshit was keeping her still here. And it's like, okay, I am resigned to this. And now being here for even more time, and, like, even her boyfriend is moved in, and, like, the cult is really kind of got its claws into her. Like, she doesn't feel that she can leave. Even with James giving her the out, she genuinely doesn't feel like she can take it. And James says, fine, I'm leaving. If you're coming with me, let's do it. But if you're not, then you're not. And he has that moment.
If you're going to pick the weird blood orgy over me, then fine, I'm out.
And he has that moment where he's in his car and he looks out and all of them are just looking at him like from their apartments. And he almost kind of has this look on his face where it almost looks like he's going to go back in out of spite and then doesn't. And then it's not long after that Mary gets sick, presumably because blood orgies continue. And then she's in the hospital. He goes to see her, and Mercy kills her at his request. And to me, the guilt stems from, I never should have left. I never should have left her in that place. I either should have made sure that she came with me, or I should have stayed and protected her. I left her behind. I left her to die.
I mean, but the thing is, even she says, it's like, I was dead either way.
I don't care. Because when you leave someone behind like that, even if they're like, look, this is what was going to happen anyways, it is still going to be in his mind that I could have done something. And even if I couldn't have saved you, I could have been there for you when you needed me most to maybe make these like few months like just less painful. And I didn't. I consider you the love of my life, and I left you to suffer, and I left you to die. And that is where his guilt stems from. I will agree, I don't think that's as strong as him killing his wife, and him having that ambiguity of, did I do that because I didn't want her to suffer, or did I do it because I didn't want me to suffer? And I think that is stronger. But I can see the angle the movie was going for, and I don't inherently mind it.
The thing is that I do. Because, and again, this is not just me being like, oh, you didn't make Silent Hill 2, oh, what the fuck's wrong with you?
But it is the core of what makes Silent Hill 2
what makes Silent Hill 2 work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. This is very much a case of, if it ain't broke, don't fuck with it. You had a perfect movie laid out for you. This thing was set up 20 plus years ago. This perfect narrative that honestly would not have been that hard to adapt. Like, if you had made it like a full 2.5 hour movie, you could have filled all that shit, and you wouldn't have had to leave like anything, really. Because like, hell, like Silent Hill 2, like watching it, like, because I remember you didn't play it, you watched it. It's like a 5 hour video, and
a lot of that is gameplay.
And a lot of that is gameplay. It's like, you can just, you could easily make it a 2.5 hour movie, and not really compromise with anything. And I also, because the tricky thing is that, I also want to respect the creator of a film being allowed to express their own, talent. Well, we just watched Iron Lung, a week ago. And, I even made the joke on the way back. It's like, Markiplier made this movie in a cave with a box of scraps.
And 80,000 gallons of fake blood.
$3 million budget. Most of that, I think, went to just the blood. But, this was a guy who had complete creative freedom, but he also had he also didn't have a lot to work with. It's like, here's, the basic foundation, and then just fucking go for it. And I think he did a really good job with that. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I think it is a really strong cosmic horror story, and it's well acted, has really good effects, etc. But it's like, with this one, it's like you had tighter constraints and on what you could do with this story. And you should have probably stayed within those bounds. Again, I don't mind if you take some creative liberties with some of these things, but there are some things you should not take creative liberties with, because it fucks with the point of the story. It's like whenever we watch, I feel like this was something that happened a few years ago, where Oh, you know, it's the live action remakes. It's the Disney live action remakes, where
don't get me started on Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, like
don't get me talking about the Dig Dang library scene.
That's what this is. That's what this is.
No,
is you
no, I don't think it's as bad as the library scene, man.
I think it is. I think it is. Because it's like...
I'll let you have that.
Because it's like...
Oh, man, that scene just... It makes me
it's
so
like,
angry.
When you change things without asking why they were there in the first place, eventually you're going to fuck yourself over. Because, like with the Beauty and the Beast thing, it's like the library scene... You know, you change the mood. You change like...
You change the first moment that he showed genuine, like, care and... I mean, you could argue the first one when he does what he saves her from the wolves. But just that moment of, I want to do something for her. But, like, I don't know what. But I have that genuine desire to help another person, to give them something. And you see his heart changing. You see that coldness melting. And instead, in the live-action film,
he's still a
it's
prick.
like... You plebeian, you enjoy Shakespeare? Let me show you a real book. Here, educate yourself. This is not a gift. This is not kindness. This is just showing. This is a fucking peacock. Like, I hate that movie.
Me too. I hate this movie.
I don't hate this movie.
I hate this movie.
I understand why, and I genuinely am not going to fight you on it. It's just for me, I'm like, I liked this a lot more than I thought I would. I genuinely wish it was more faithful. There are decisions where, like, I understand what you were going for. I wish you did the game.
I wish you didn't do
like, I wish you did the original. But I see what you were doing, and I think for me it works well enough. But I understand that you disagree, and I completely give you that.
Man, well, shit. I hated it. Like, even the things that I liked about the movie do not save it for me in the slightest. Because, like, even with the visuals, it's like, okay, there are times where a lot of the times the visuals are really good, but then you get, like, the fucking weird spider with the huge ass. Or,
sorry, because I think I did want to say something about that, because it to me, just the yam spider, it's like Maria. Where in the game, this is something that could have really worked because it emphasizes, like, seeing Mary
like,
as a
sexual
frustration.
Yes.
And, like, that's something that makes a lot of sense with James's character and his potential motivation. But in this version...
Really have that because he's a good boy.
Exactly. In this version of the story, it doesn't work, so it's just a weird, sexy, nasty monster to have a weird, sexy, nasty bongo monster.
I will never get over that. Like, I know that's not what they were doing in the movie, but, like, him punching her, like, right above her ass, and it's like, at some angles, it looks like he's just, like, fucking pounding them cheeks. Not in that way. That's in the game.
Time to button.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me. I can't do it anymore.